In Season 2 of Euphoria, things get even more complicated for Rue Bennett and her fellow classmates. Rue's friend and drug dealer Fezco finds himself in increasingly more dangerous situations. His younger brother Ashtray kills their supplier Mouse in self-defense, putting the drug-dealing duo in a very precarious situation. Rue tags along with Fez as he pays a visit to a new supplier, an unassuming but very threatening woman named Elordi. With his business affairs squared away, Fezco turns his attention to his personal life. Faye, the girlfriend of Fez's friend Custer, moves in when Custer needs to lay low from the police. Fez gets his revenge on Nate Jacobs for sending the police to raid his apartment for drugs in Season 1 by viciously beating him at a house party. And Fez begins developing a romantic relationship with Lexi. Cassie begins secretly sleeping with Nate and quickly becomes obsessed with him. She also becomes racked with guilt due to Nate being her best friend Maddy's ex-boyfriend. This is all complicated even further when Nate rekindles his relationship with Maddy. Meanwhile, Nate's father Cal drunkenly comes out to his family and leaves them. And then there's Kat, who begins to lose interest in her boyfriend Ethan and fakes a terminal illness to try to break up with him. He sees through this lie and ends the relationship. And that brings us to Rue, who rekindles her relationship with Jules, who is unaware that Rue is slipping further into addiction. Not helping matters is the fact that Rue befriends new kid Elliot, who secretly enables her drug habits. In her continued spiral, Rue pays a visit to Elordi and offers to become a drug dealer in order to secure $10,000 worth of drugs. As Elliot grows closer to both Rue and Jules, he begins to feel guilty about his part in enabling Rue's addiction. After developing a romantic relationship with Jules, Elliot confesses to her that he and Rue have been doing drugs together. Jules alerts Rue's mom Leslie, who destroys Rue's massive drug stash. This sends Rue into a full-blown breakdown, angrily cutting ties with Jules and Elliot while destroying her own house. While Leslie tries to take Rue to rehab, Rue flees to Lexi and Cassie's house. When Leslie arrives to stage an intervention, Rue reveals to Maddy that Cassie and Nate were sleeping with each other, causing a fight that served as enough of a distraction for Rue to escape. Rue then takes refuge at Elordi's home. The drug dealer gives Rue morphine to help with her withdrawals, but also insinuates that Rue could be sold into prostitution if she doesn't pay Elordi the $10,000 that was owed. Following this traumatic and chaos-fueled day, Rue returns home to seek treatment. Following the blow-up between Maddy, Cassie, and Nate, and his father's departure, Nate decides to take his family's future into his own hands. Maddy had a copy of a sex tape that Cal had secretly filmed of himself with Jules. To ensure she never leaked it and ruin the Jacobs name, Nate holds Maddy and himself at gunpoint to retrieve it. Nate then pays a visit to Jules and gives her the tape, apologizing for all the terrible things he'd done to her, and confessing everything he told her when catfishing her in Season 1 was the truth. All season long, Lexi has been writing a school play chronicling her perspective of the lives of her family and friends. During the play's performance, there are a variety of reactions from the story's subjects. Maddy begins to soften on her anger toward Cassie, Rue and Jules reevaluate their feelings for each other, and Nate becomes enraged at a homoerotic musical number centered around him and the high school football team, leading him to break up with Cassie. This causes Cassie to run up on stage to publicly confront Lexi for embarrassing her. This escalates further when Suze runs up on stage to break up her daughters, and then Maddy runs up to fight Cassie, chasing her off stage. Lexi's big moment was teetering toward disaster, but Rue rallies the crowd into a chant for Lexi, coaxing her to continue on with the play. Unfortunately, the seat Lexi saved for Fezco goes unfilled, as the drug dealer is having major problems of his own. Faye's boyfriend Custer becomes an informant for the police in their investigation over Mouse's murder, and he arrives at Fez's apartment to try to record incriminating evidence. Faye warns Fez, but Ashtray is unaware of the situation and thinks killing Custer is the solution to their problems. As a SWAT team prepares to storm the apartment, Fez plans on taking the fall for Mouse and Custer's deaths. But Ashtray has different plans and locks himself in the bathroom with an arsenal of weapons. As the SWAT team burst in and Fez pleads for his brother to stop, Ashtray opens fire. The police kill Ashtray and Fez is shot in the stomach during the crossfire before being arrested. Meanwhile, Nate pays a visit to his father. Cal finally apologizes to his son for all the emotional trauma he had caused, but it was too late. Nate had already alerted the authorities about Cal's history of secretly recording his sexual escapades with partners of varying ages. As the season comes to a close, Rue forgives Elliot for his involvement in her intervention and thanks him for saving her life. Her relationship with Jules, on the other hand, was a bit more complicated, and Rue might finally be ready to move on from her first love. As the season fades to black, Rue narrates that she stayed sober for the rest of the school year. She didn't know if it would last forever, but right now, she was trying. And that's everything that happened in season 2 of Euphoria. Let me know some of your favorite moments from season 2 in the comments below, and what did you think of that finale? Like this video if you found it helpful, subscribe to this channel for more content like it, and that does it for me in this video, but I'll see you in the next one.